Stop for a second, because this might be the easiest breakfast habit you ever use. Most people do not struggle because they do not know what to eat. They struggle because mornings are rushed, energy is low, and the first thing they grab is whatever is fast: a biscuit, a sweet drink, a bowl of cereal that disappears in 5 minutes. And then, not long after, the hunger comes back, the focus drops, and the day starts feeling harder than it should. That is why this breakfast matters. Not because it is perfect, not because it is trendy, but because it is practical. It takes about 3 minutes, it fits into a busy morning, and it gives your body a better start without making breakfast feel like another job. And that is the real problem for most people. They do not need a complicated meal plan. They need one simple breakfast they can actually repeat. So in this video, I want to walk you through a breakfast formula that busy people can use every day. It is simple, it is fast, and it is designed to help you feel more steady through the morning instead of crashing too early or thinking about food again and again before lunch. Now, before we go any further, let me say this clearly. This is not magic. No breakfast can do all the work for you. But the right breakfast can make the rest of your day easier. It can help you stay satisfied longer. It can help you avoid random snacking. It can help you stay more focused when your schedule is already full. And that matters more than people think. Because when your morning starts badly, the whole day can feel like you are chasing food, chasing energy, and trying to recover from a decision you made before 9 a.m. But when your first meal is balanced, calm, and filling, everything feels a little easier to manage. That is the idea here. A 3-minute breakfast should do 3 things. First, it should give you protein. Second, it should give you some fiber or slow digesting food that helps you stay full. And third, it should be something you actually enjoy enough to eat consistently. That last part is important. A breakfast can be healthy on paper and still fail in real life if you do not want to keep eating it. Consistency is what makes this work. Not perfection, not rules. Just a breakfast you can repeat without stress. So, let's make this real. Imagine 2 mornings. On the first one, you wake up late, you're already behind, and you grab something sweet because it is there and it is fast. It tastes fine, it feels easy, but a little later, the hunger starts creeping back. You lose focus. You start looking for snacks, you get irritated faster, and by the time lunch comes around, you are already tired of fighting your own appetite. Now imagine the second morning. You still wake up late. You are still busy. But this time, you take out a bowl and make something simple with protein, fruit, and a little bit of healthy fat or fiber. It does not take long. It does not require a recipe. And for the next few hours, you feel more stable. You are not obsessing over food. You are not trying to recover from a crash. You just feel more in control. That is the difference. And the good news is, this does not have to be complicated. One of the easiest options is Greek yogurt with berries, chia seeds, and a spoon of nut butter. That is a fast breakfast that checks a lot of boxes at once. The yogurt gives you protein. The berries bring sweetness and volume. The chia seeds add fiber, and the nut butter makes the whole thing feel more satisfying. If you prefer something warmer, you could go with eggs and toast, maybe with fruit on the side. That is another simple option that works because it is balanced. The eggs bring protein, the toast gives you something quick and familiar, and the fruit adds freshness without slowing you down. If you like oats, you can make overnight oats the night before and keep them in the fridge. In the morning, it is already ready. You can add yogurt, fruit, or nuts, and suddenly breakfast is done before your brain even fully wakes up. That is the kind of breakfast that helps busy people, not the one that looks impressive, the one that survives a real morning. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think breakfast has to be either very strict or very special. It does not. It just has to work. A lot of people think they are eating breakfast when they are really just having something sweet and quick. And again, that is not a moral issue. It is just that some foods do a better job of keeping you steady than others. If breakfast is mostly sugar and not much else, it may not hold you for long. If it has protein and fiber, it usually does a better job of carrying you through. That is why this matters so much for busy people. The goal is not to spend more time eating. The goal is to stop the morning from controlling you. Because once your morning gets messy, everything else can follow. You get hungry sooner. You become more distracted. You are more likely to grab random food later. And by the end of the day, it feels like you have been reacting instead of leading. A good breakfast changes that rhythm. It gives the day a cleaner start. And the nicest part is that you do not need to think about this for hours. You only need a few ingredients, one bowl, and a simple habit you can repeat. So if you want the easiest version, think in this order. Protein first, then something with fiber or slow energy, then something that makes it enjoyable enough to actually finish. That is the formula. Not fancy, just smart. And once you start looking at breakfast this way, you stop asking, what is the most delicious thing I can make right now? And start asking, what will actually help me feel good for the next few hours? That is the better question. Because the truth is, the best breakfast is not the one that sounds the most impressive. It is the one you can make on a busy day without stress, eat without rushing, and repeat without getting bored too quickly. And in the next part, I want to show you how to build this into a simple routine, what common mistakes quietly ruin a good breakfast, and how one small morning change can make the rest of your day feel much easier. Now, let's build this into something you can actually use every day without thinking too much about it. Because the goal here is not to create the perfect breakfast. The goal is to remove friction from your mornings. When something is easy, you repeat it. And when you repeat it, you start to see results without forcing anything. So instead of relying on motivation, you want a simple system. Think of your breakfast like a template, not a recipe. You are not locked into one exact meal. You just follow a structure that works. Protein, something with fiber or slow energy, and something that makes the meal satisfying enough to carry you through the morning. Once you understand that, you can rotate options without starting from scratch every time. For example, some days it might be Greek yogurt with fruit and seeds. Other days it might be eggs with toast and fruit. Another day it could be oats with yogurt and nuts. Different foods, same structure. That is what makes it sustainable. Now, here is where things get interesting. A lot of people already eat breakfast, but they still feel like it is not working for them. And usually it comes down to a few small mistakes that are easy to fix once you notice them. The first mistake is eating something that looks healthy but does not actually keep you full. This happens a lot with very light breakfasts. A small portion of fruit on its own. A quick snack that disappears in a few bites. Something that feels clean but does not have enough substance to carry you forward. And then an hour later, hunger shows up again. Not because anything is wrong with those foods, but because they were not enough on their own. The second mistake is relying too much on convenience without thinking about balance. It is easy to grab something packaged, something sweet, or something that gives you a quick boost. And in the moment, it feels like the right choice because it saves time. But if that breakfast does not have protein or fiber, it may not give you the steady energy you need. And that is where the cycle starts. Eat quickly, get hungry quickly, repeat. The third mistake is making breakfast too complicated. This one surprises people, but it matters a lot. If your breakfast requires too many steps, too many ingredients, or too much time, you will not stick with it when life gets busy. You might follow it for a few days, maybe even a week, but eventually you'll go back to whatever is easiest. That is why the 3-minute rule is so powerful. If you can make your breakfast in about 3 minutes, it becomes something you can rely on even on your worst mornings. And that consistency is where the real benefit comes from. So instead of chasing variety every single day, you simplify the process. You pick 2 or 3 go-to options. You keep the ingredients ready, and you rotate between them without overthinking it. That way, breakfast becomes automatic. Now let's talk about something even more practical. What does this look like over a full week? Imagine you wake up each morning and you already know your options. You are not deciding from scratch. You are just choosing between a few simple meals that you trust. On Monday, you go with yogurt, berries, and nuts. On Tuesday, eggs, toast, and fruit. On Wednesday, overnight oats with yogurt and seeds. Then you repeat. No stress, no confusion, no wasted time. And because these meals are balanced, you start noticing small changes. You are not as distracted by hunger mid-morning. You are not constantly thinking about snacks. You feel more steady, more focused, and a bit more in control of your day. These are not dramatic changes, but they add up. And that is the part most people underestimate. They are looking for something extreme, something fast, something that feels like a big breakthrough. But in reality, it is these small, repeatable habits that quietly improve how your day feels. Breakfast is just one piece of that, but it is an important one because it sets the tone. Now, here is a simple challenge you can try. For the next 7 days, keep your breakfast consistent using this structure. Do not worry about being perfect. Do not worry about tracking everything. Just focus on showing up each morning and eating something that includes protein, some fiber, and something satisfying. That is it. Then, pay attention to how your mornings feel. Notice your hunger levels. Notice your focus. Notice how often you feel the urge to snack before lunch. That feedback will tell you more than any plan or rule ever could. Because once you feel the difference for yourself, it becomes easier to stick with it. And that is when it starts to become a habit instead of an effort. Now, before we wrap this up, let us go back to the idea we started with. This is not about creating a perfect routine. It is about making your mornings easier. It is about removing one problem from your day before it even starts. When breakfast is handled, you have one less decision to make, one less thing to worry about, one less reason to feel off track. And for busy people, that matters a lot, because your day already has enough demands. So if you can take 3 minutes in the morning and give yourself a better start, it is worth it. Not because it changes everything overnight, but because it makes everything else a little smoother. And sometimes, that is exactly what you need. So tomorrow morning, keep it simple. Pick one option. Keep it balanced. Eat it without rushing too much. And see how your day responds. That is where it all begins. Thanks for watching True Health Tales. If this helped you, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next truth.